Yeah. Good evening, everyone. How are we? Welcome to Fortean Words. This is this is going to be a solo episode, unless someone jumps on to help me. I don't know, but we'll see. That's fine. It's going to be just me, Alphabet Cat, the solo episode. I am in the Discord if anyone wants to pop in. No music because the music's decided it's not working this time. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's definitely not working, isn't it? Oh yes, here we go. I should have started this again, really, shouldn't I? Good evening and welcome to another Fortean Words. Yeah, this is going to be me rambling on my own. I don't know whether I'll last the full 2 hours. I don't know whether I will last an hour even. Who knows? Hold on one sec. Just sharing some links around. We are live. Welcome to 14 Words. Yeah, so, right. So, lack of any... I've got to stop saying so. That was fucking awful in that previous one. So, it's just said so again. I need to stop saying fucking so because it is terrible. What is this one here? Right then. Oh, that story's disappeared. So what I'm doing is, because I've got a lack of content and co-hosts, what I'm going to do is I've just dug out a few old copies of 14 times. I'm going to go through a few stories with you. So, stop saying so. I found this one about honeybees, which is quite interesting. Because we do keep hearing that the honeybees are disappearing. I don't know where they are or not. Are they? Don't know. So most of the world's crops depend on pollination by bees. Einstein once said that if the bees disappeared, man would only have 4 years of life left. Late in 2006, commercial beekeepers in Florida began noticing that alarming numbers of their honeybees had gone missing. Bustling colonies. Evening, all. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Not too bad. You've come to save me, have you, Ian?
Yeah, I could see you were shitting your pants, so I thought I'd come on and help out.
I just need someone to bounce off, so I don't keep saying so all the time. I've found
you need a straight man
when I'm solo broadcasting. Do you just want to roll with it? I'll read these articles. We can talk about them as we go. They're just old 14 Words times articles that look like
14 words.
14 Words times. Right, so what do you think? What do you think of the big disappearing bee conspiracy then?
I've never actually heard of it. Is that in the Fortean Times?
This one's from what year is this? 2007. So 15 years ago, they worried about the bees.
That might have been one. As I said, with Fortean Times, I go into Smith's, flick through it. There's nothing much to interest me in it. Then I don't bother buying it. So there's a tip for the viewers there regarding magazines, rather than subscribe and maybe have copies.
Is that the big conspiracy why they're getting rid of shops?
Yeah.
So people like you can't go and see what's in 14 Times first.
I did the same with Mayfair as well. If there was nothing in there I liked,
seeing if it was any good or not.
Then I wouldn't buy it. But then I was asked to leave the shop and not to come back. So I've been banned from W.H. Smith.
So all this bee stuff started in late 2006. Commercial beekeepers in Florida began noticing that alarming numbers of their honeybees had gone missing. Bustling colonies, tens of thousands strong, were emptying in a matter of days. Colony collapse disorder. Look at that. They've even given it a name now. Occurs
you shitters.
Bubbly.
You know about the disappearing bee conspiracy, don't you, Dom?
Yes, I do. Although I don't know if it's as bad as people say, because there are other pollinators. There's various species of flies and other types of bees and wasps that are also pollinators. There is a theory that bees are taking pollen from what monoculture is contributing, because bees are taking pollen from certain types, only one type of plant rather than lots of different types.
Yeah.
And it makes them more susceptible to viruses. Also use natural hives. They build up a natural virus immunity as opposed to beekeeping. So yeah, that's what I know.
So colony collapse disorder. So you're going to tell us this is bollocks by the time I get to the end of it, then. So colony collapse disorder occurs when a hive's inhabitants suddenly disappear, leaving only eggs, queens, and a few immature workers, mostly sickly. The vanished bees are never found, but they're thought to die singly, far from home. Parasites, wildlife, and other bees, which normally raid the honey and pollen left behind when a colony dies, refuse to go anywhere near the abandoned hives. Perhaps they think they're haunted. Apiarists have endured two major mite infestations since the 1980s and 3 cases of unexplained disappearing disorders as far back as 1894. So if these disappearing disorders have been going on since 1894, I don't think they're anything to worry about then, are they?
Right. They might be haunted, but have you ever seen a ghost bee in a shell suit?
Yeah. What I used to enjoy doing was when I was mowing the lawn. If there was one on the lawn, there's a bee on the lawn. I'd like to go over it with the lawnmower. And,
so it's you, is it? Is your
spread it.
Is your lawnmower full of bees? Is that what it is? You're doing it, Ian.
Well, if this has been going on since 1894, it's probably like industrialisation that's causing it.
Well, they do come to a theory towards the end. But unlike the current crisis, those episodes were confined to small areas. Oh, okay. So yes, it's been going on for ages, but that was small areas. The alarm has now hit half of all American states. The West Coast is thought to have lost 60% of its commercial bee population, with 70% missing on the East Coast. Bees pollinate US. So it's an American problem then. So we're convinced all of the bees are going missing, but it's just an American problem. Bees pollinate US crops worth $14 billion per year. Crops such as almonds, avocados, oranges, and kiwi fruit could be in short supply. This is 2007. Just keep remembering this is 2007 when they're selling you these horror stories. Every third bite we consume in our diet is dependent on a honeybee to pollinate that food. Every third bite. That's a strange thing, isn't it?
I lost connection then. I just moved room and
did you know that? Did you know that, Ian? Every third bite we consume in our diet is dependent upon a honeybee to pollinate that food.
So if you take 3 bites of an apple, first 2 bites were pollinated by something else, were they?
Yeah. I love the way these I love like newspaper talk when they get these this is that many new football pitches or swimming pools.
Yeah. Well, they have to use those kind of like comparative stats because your average reader isn't that smart, are they?
So Zach Browning, Vice President of the American Beekeeping Federation, said that CCD has now spread to Germany, Switzerland, Spain, Portugal, Italy, and Greece. In April, the British Department of the Environment, Food and Rural Affairs stated there is absolutely no evidence of CCD in the UK. However, John Chappell, one of London's biggest beekeepers, announced that 23 of his 40 hives have been abruptly abandoned, while other apiarists have recorded losses in Scotland, Wales, and northwest England. Oh, what a surprise! The government's lying to us. Oh, has he lost the connection again? No one knows why this is happening. Theories involving mites, fungus, pesticides, global warming, and GM crops have been proposed, but all have drawbacks. Another theory is that bees have been too highly bred as super pollinators and are dropping dead, exhausted by the workload. What do you think to that one then, Dom?
Yeah, not too keen on that theory.
Well, you can't
Oh.
it's not like they're whipping bees into getting more. But, a bee's just going to do what a bee does, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not like we've been selectively breeding them.
Yeah.
And
I suppose
they're not
aren't they like
not like
selectively bred to
bulldogs.
be a bit more docile though? Or I mean, are there particular traits that they go for in bees?
I don't know. Well, I suppose we favour that species by keeping.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Because there is a difference between bees and bumblebees as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there's all sorts of type of bees, and the bumblebees. I think they burrow. I don't think they live in colonies.
Whatever happened to the killer African bees that were going to kill all of us? Or was that
Oh
killer?
yeah.
Do you remember the killer African bee? Do you remember that film where they led the bees away with a ice cream van? Do you remember? To a
Wasn't that
football stadium.
Michael Caine film.
Was it? I
Killer
don't remember
bees.
it. I just cannot remember. I don't remember much about it, but I remember they led the bees with a ice cream van to a American football stadium where they then lowered the temperature.
Yeah, something like that. What happened to murder hornets as well?
Murder hornets.
You heard of those?
Yeah, I think we did a bit about them last year. They get those fucking big ones look scary as fuck though, don't they?
Yeah, there was. I think there's footage of. I think these Japanese hornets attacking a beehive, and they would go in and just bite the bees' heads off. But the bees would basically form a ball around the hornets,
don't they? And then
yeah,
boil
use
them.
their body heat to kill them. Yeah. And yeah, there was something. It was 2020 that murder hornets have arrived in the US, and then the story just went away.
Right, so what else we got? The disappearance pattern offers few clues since CCD plagues non-migrating colonies as well as those that are moved from place to pollinate crops. Between a quarter and a half, roughly 2,000 US commercial beekeepers have reported losses that fit the description of CCD, but no one is quite sure of the extent of the problem since the actual number of US bee colonies is unknown. German research has long shown that bee behaviour changes near power lines. Now, a limited study at Landau University has found that bees refuse to return to their hives when mobile phones are replaced nearby. Dr. Jochen Kuhn, I don't know how to say that, I'm not very good with German names, who carried out the study, said this could provide a hint to the possible cause. The hypothesis is that radiation from the mobiles interferes with the bees' navigation systems.
I think they navigate by electromagnetic fields. I think
Is the problem that they used their 3G and they're not, bees aren't 4G?
Yes, they need upgrading.
The bees need a new SIM. Is that what the problem is?
Yeah, they need their antennae replacing.
Right. So that's the bee question. Suicide flaps now. It's literally like some random shit that interested me.
The system went down and back now though. So I have to restart. Did you catch my lawnmower bee anecdote?
Yes, we heard the lawnmower bee anecdote, and then you disappeared.
And then I disappeared. What about the lawnmower
There
dog
was
shit anecdote?
there was CCD on your internet.
Yeah. Lawnmower dog shit though. What about that one? Have you done that one? The Profanosaurus calls that a landmine. So,
A landmine.
Yeah, that's the Profanosaurus definition of.
When I worked at a hotel. I used to do gardening at a hotel, and if like guests had brought their dogs and they'd shat on the lawn, I refused to pick it up. It's like that's not my job. And if I had to mow the lawn, I'd just mow around the dog turds.
That's not my job. Pardon the pun.
So there'd be these nice stripes in the lawn. Yeah.
Isn't there a joke like that? Someone about some bloke walks into a bar, slips on a dog shit, and lands on his ass. 2 minutes later, another bloke comes in. He slips on the shit again and lands on his ass. The bloke says to the first bloke, he said, "I just did that." He said, "You dirty bastard."
I see how
Right,
it
so
works.
do you remember the suicide flap in Bridgend? Do you remember that? Where
I do,
where
yes.
where the
That's
kids
an
were killing
interesting one. Yeah.
Mm. I'm going to do that next. In the wake of recent suicides of young people from Bridgend, South Wales, Jack Sargent wonders whether some kind of copycat effect might be so powerful that it could induce people to end their own lives. While Lauren Coleman examines the anatomy of a suicide cluster, and Chris Kimberley listens to Gloomy Sunday. Do you remember Gloomy Sunday? You know this one?
Is that the song by the Bangles?
No, that's Manic
No.
Monday. It is a song. It is a song. It's a Hungarian song where apparently everyone who listened to it committed suicide.
No,
Oh
Boomtown
yeah,
Rats.
it was done in a certain key, wasn't it? And
yeah, a song supposedly responsible for a rash of self-killings in pre-war Hungary. So, on 19th of February 2008, Jenna Parry was found hanging in woods near the village of fucking hell. What? Kefan Cribor?
Kevin Quibble, that's right.
Cribor. Okay then. This is going to be fun. This is 5 miles from Bridgend, South Wales. The 16-year-old was the 17th youth to commit suicide in the Bridgend area in a mere 13 months. Fucking hell, that is. Are things that bad in Bridgend?
They are. It's a fucking shithole. So
yeah, I was going to say that. It's like, maybe the government had just passed a bill to make like families even poorer in the region or something.
It's nicknamed the Devil's Arsehole.
It's Christ. Oh god, we're gonna get told. Are we going to get told off again for laughing talking about suicide? Do you remember our commenter who didn't like the Fred West episode?
Oh yeah, I wonder what happened to him. Maybe he's committed suicide.
So not only is the number of suicides higher than the average for England and Wales, but this suicide cluster is notable for the comparative youth of each fatality. The youngest merely 15, the oldest 27. Moreover, it appeared that at least amongst a number of the dead, there were established relationships, familial, social, and virtual. Whether this web of interconnectivity has any relevance to the causes of even some of these suicides remains unknown.
It's a more widespread problem these days, isn't it? It's just like Zoomers in general.
Well, this one's from 2008, so this is 14 years ago.
Yeah, it's just like spread out from
maybe
Ben to the world at large.
Maybe Michael Hutchins was from Bridgend originally.
Well, he wasn't trying to commit suicide. He was just wanking hanging off the door, weren't he?
Yeah.
There's something about that. How people become so desensitized to they're unable to orgasm. I think it's like linked to depression that they turn to that autoerotic stuff.
That's what happened is it David Carradine went like that as well, didn't he?
Yeah, and several politicians.
Fucking hell, this story gets very 2008 in a bit.
Boy wanking is Michael Hutchins' Welsh cousin.
So moreover, where was I? There were established relationships, familial, social, virtual. Whether this web of interconnectivity has a relevance to the cause of even some of these suicides remains unknown. However, attention has been drawn to social networking sites, specifically Bebo. You can tell this is 14-year-old. What the fuck happened to Bebo? Didn't AOL pay some crazy amount for Bebo? Didn't they?
Does it mention MySpace?
MySpace.
I miss Tom from MySpace.
Friends Reunited. Is it Friends Reunited? Where some of the deceased maintained Did they just hang themselves because they were on Bebo? Was it just because they realised they were on Bebo? Is that what it was? I never even went on Bebo. Either you two ever been on Bebo?
No.
Never heard of it. I was on MySpace though.
Yeah, I did MySpace.
I was known as Dr. X on
X.
MySpace. Yeah, I would investigate the unknown.
On 23rd of January 2008, the Daily Mail reported that the police had removed computer equipment from one of the deceased homes, while 5 days later, The Independent boasted the headline, Bridgend deaths, police warn of Bebo internet suicide cult. Is this why people stop using Bebo? The negative publicity. Despite this, it was reported in The Guardian the following month that Assistant Chief Constable Dave Morris denied any aspect of the investigation was focusing on suicide internet links. All those dying in the Bridgend cluster killed themselves or died as a result of hanging. That's quite uncommon, though, isn't it? Everybody killing themselves the same way.
Maybe there was a serial killer and he was just hanging people.
That might have been the... you guys ever looked into the smiley face killer?
That does ring... Did he leave a note with a smiley face on it or something?
Well, all the people die in or... all the people die in or very near water. So basically, it's weird stuff. Like they're always like out nightclubbing or something. All of a sudden, disappear. Next minute, they're found drowned, and it's like weird situations. Like the place has been searched thoroughly, and then it disappears, and then the body appears later on. But wherever the body is, there's usually somewhere near it is like some sort of bit of smiley face graffiti or a smiley face or something like that.
I mean, you could do a whole episode on serial killer MOs because they're all very, very unique. Each different one, and and a lot of them are very elaborate. It's very ritualistic, aren't they? And they kind of develop over time, and get their own kind of.
Well, none of them ever admit it, but do you think they are ritualistic? Do you think they are doing it for some sort of like occult reason?
Well, I mean, sometimes it's they think they're. Like Richard Ramirez thought the devil was talking to him or something.
No, but, Ramirez. Oh no, I'm thinking of Chase. What's his name? Something Chase. He was the one he thought his blood was turning to powder in his body. He's the Sacramento vampire.
Oh right, yeah.
He thought his blood was turning to powder in his body, and that's why he was drinking blood.
A lot of it is like a obsessive compulsive type kind of stuff.
Sutcliffe said the voices of God told him to do it.
Yeah, so did James Anderton. Do you guys remember James Anderton? The chief constable of Manchester used to cop some stick all the time, didn't he, for being Christian?
Oh no, I've not heard of him.
Oh yeah.
But it's like it's usually just untreated schizos, isn't it, basically?
Yeah, and they also get this weird. I think what it is, doesn't their like first murder somehow usually coincide with their puberty or something? So what happens? He's getting their jollies gets linked with the pulling some bird's eyes out or whatever fucking.
Yeah, it's usually some sort of traumatic event or something that happens to them, and then their pattern that kind of informs their pattern for later kills, doesn't it?
Yeah, the ones I can't stand are the ones like what's his name? The Killing for Company. What's his name? Nielsen. Dennis Nielsen. Yeah. Like people like him would go, "Oh no, it weren't really my fault. I was drunk." And I like those. I can't stand those ones. It's like fucking.
Well, you're a murderer.
You're a murderer. We know you're a fucking murderer. Just tell us why you fucking did it. Don't do this. Well, I was drunk and I didn't really know what I was doing. Shit, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, you can't really blame it on the booze, can you?
I don't know. We all do things when we're drunk that we regret, though.
Yeah, I mean, you do get into a state of when you go into like blackout. You're basically most of your brain shuts down.
Yeah,
but you've just got a bit more courage.
You still behave as normal, and that's but your brain. The brain doesn't store the.
I mean, accidentally murdering one girlfriend. I mean, I'll give you a pass on that, but like accidentally murdering 20 people while you're drunk is like that's not quite the same thing, is it?
Or setting fire to a fridge.
Boyfriends in his case, wasn't it?
We did that some time ago.
You set fire to a fridge while you were drunk?
Set fire to a fridge, yeah. This guy I know did that. Yeah,
the only thing I've ever done is pulled out the bottom drawer of the chest of the drawers and pissed in it. I did that a long while ago when I was drunk.
Yeah. I've done all sorts of things that I have no idea about because I used to like the old vodka and Red Bull. Only does alcohol give you short-term memory loss, but also the taurine in the Red Bull does as well. So as soon as I started drinking that, it's like that's it. I had no idea what the rest of the night was like.
You went on a vodka Red Bull diet and lost 3 days.
Yeah.
So all those dying in the Bridgend cluster killed themselves or died as a result of hanging. Motives for specific deaths in the area have been identified at official inquests into some of them, but some think that the deaths subsequently inspired or influenced similar suicides in the area, creating a wave of copycat suicides. I don't. This sounds like bollock. Copycat suicide sounds like a bollock to me.
All the cool kids are doing it. It's all the rage at school.
Yeah.
If you're going to commit suicide, though, it's either hanging or overdose. So your options are a bit limited.
If you want to be a cool kid at school on Monday, you've got to hang yourself on the Friday.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd do it. I'd do it in a elaborate way. I'd like bungee jump off a sort of off the Gherkin in London, for example, and have an explosive vest on or something.
Hobbit read about one somewhere like that. Like if you really want to get back at someone, do this. So what you do is you have a bit of piano wire and you have a rope, but you super glue your hands to your head, but the piano wire is shorter than the rope, so your head comes off, and then. You have the rope long enough so you land at your boss. So you smack against your boss's window with blood gushing out, and your head's off.
And it's held in your hands because it's super glued. So.
Yeah.
That's very
creative. Yeah.
He's thought a lot about that one, hasn't he?
Yeah. All those hang in. It's also been suggested that some people could be drawn to kill themselves simply to have a memorial page online. Well, that's thinking it through, isn't it? As a result of such speculation, memorial pages on the website gonetoosoon.co.uk were removed. Social networking sites do allow friends of the deceased to post comments on their profiles, and there's also a tribute site on Bebo dedicated to all the Bridgend cases. Good luck finding that one if you want to find it today. Here, people have posted messages such as "I miss you so much, you'll always be in my heart," and "remembered in our hearts." That's heart spelt HARTS.
Probably just like there's like a dodgy engineer in the area, and they all just had carbon monoxide poisoning, which gave them depression, and they killed themselves.
Either that was some fucking weird harmonic shit going on in the area that's fucking making
electromagnetic or
yeah.
Or they listened to Judas Priest.
Yeah,
been blamed for suicide. Yeah, that's right.
Depeche Mode forwards. No, not Depeche Mode. Deacon Blue. That's a better example.
No, Travis. Travis.
Yeah. Or Coldplay.
Yeah.
I had to watch Deacon Blue live once. It was awful.
I don't know. They've done a couple of good songs, haven't they? I think.
No, they haven't. They're fucking awful, and the fans. I used to work in the bar. I used to work in the bar at Brixton Academy, and I was just, overlooking the arena, so I had to just watch the whole thing. It was awful. And no one bought any alcohol. All the fans were drinking Coke and orange juice. Wasn't like having a heavy metal band there.
Oh god, sounds awful. It's a really unsufferable bastards.
The fans were so sensible.
Disgraceful. So anyway, there's the Werther effect. Is that your granddad giving out sweets? Is that the Werther effect?
Smooth and creamy and uncommonly good.
I know a guy online used to call them nonce nuggets.
I think that's in the Viz Profanosaurus.
Oh, is it? What, nonce nuggets?
Yeah.
Along with landmine.
Oh, I need to get the Profanosaurus. The Profanosaurus used to be funny. The meaning of liff is quite funny as well. You read that one?
I've written some. I wrote some of the Profanosaurus. I've got entries in there.
Have you?
Yeah.
You read the meaning of liff, Ian? Douglas Adams, where he gets
the meaning of life.
Where he gets it's the meaning of liff.
The meaning of liff. No, I haven't.
No, the meaning of
where
liff.
He has his own dictionary.
Oh, sure. Oh, fuck it. Since this is an ad hoc episode, I'll read some. Basically, the meaning of liff is Douglas Adams and John Lloyd. They wrote a book where they take place names in England and then they give them meanings. So Grinstead.
Oh, I remember that there was one where one of them where the description was the point at which the amount of shit on your toilet roll signals the end of the wiping process, and it was like one of these place names.
So Grinstead is the state of a woman's clothing after she's been to powder her nose and has hitched up her tights over her skirt at the back, thus exposing her bottom, and has walked out without noticing it. What's this? What else have we got? Malibu, the height by which the top of a wave exceeds the height to which you've rolled up your trousers.
Don't get it.
They just give it. They just give.
Oh
silly,
right, okay.
yeah.
I thought there was some kind of
Plimpton.
There's one called Shit Bottle.
A Plimpton is the knob on top of a war memorial. Give a place name. I'll see if it's in here.
Shit Bottle.
Shit bottle. I don't think that's
a place name.
Is it?
What about devices?
Devices. Oh, that's handy. It says, yeah, you do it by place name, don't you? Hold on. Before I get there, Dalrymple. Dalrymples are the things you pay extra for on pieces of handmade craftwork. The rough edges, the paint smudges, and the holes in the glazing. Devices isn't in here. You would have thought devices would be in here, wouldn't you?
Yeah. What about cocking?
Cocking, let's see. Des Moines, the two little lines that come down from your nose. What's he say? Cocking. I don't think that's. How about this one? Cannock Chase. In any box of After 8 mints, there is always a large number of empty envelopes, and no more than 4 or 5 actual mints. The Cannock Chase is the process by which, no matter which part of the box you insert your fingers to, or how often, you will always extract most of the empty sachets before pinning down an actual mint or a cannock. The Cannock Chase also occurs with people who put dead matches back in the matchbox, then embarrass themselves at parties trying to light cigarettes with 3/4 of an inch of charcoal. The term is also used to describe futile attempts to pursue unscrupulous advertising agencies who nick your ideas to sell chocolates with.
Do people use matches anymore? I used to like doing a genie, which is when you light a match and then you put it back in the box, and then it all blows up and smoke goes everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you hold it on the striking bit at an angle, and you can flick it at people and light it.
Yeah,
at the same
that's
time.
right. Yeah.
Clench Wharton, one who assists an exorcist by squeezing whichever part of the possessed the exorcist deems useful.
Peculiar.
Clovis, one who actually looks forward to putting up the Christmas decorations in the office.
We know the sort.
Yeah. Ian, you're a condover. A condover is one who is employed to stand about all day browsing through the magazine rack in the newsagent.
Yeah, exactly. It's all free, innit?
Yeah.
Help yourself.
Anyway, I'm going to have to leave you for a bit. I will be back, but I've got to go and fire a few brown lasers.
You've got to feed the dog. You've got to
release the
plank.
chocolate hostages.
Gonna drop the kids off at the pool.
Exactly. Back in the
So anyway, the Werther effect. Well, we got fucking seriously sidetracked there. It has long been known that the simple reporting of such deaths creates a fascination that for some will lead to copycat suicides. According to Sue Simkin from the Centre for Suicide Research at Oxford University, there is clear evidence that reports in the media that give descriptions of the method of suicide and romanticise the deceased by giving descriptions of the attention they receive in the form of condolences and online obituaries give rise to other suicides. Copycat suicides have even been defined as an example of behavioural contagion, a meme that is spread through cultural representations of suicide. The modern understanding of copycat suicides can be traced to the publication of Goethe's Sorrows of Young Werther in 1774. Following its publication, the number of males killing themselves in the same manner as the novel's lovelorn protagonist increased, suggesting that some readers drawn to the fictional romanticism saw their own destruction as equally evocative. These copycat suicides led to the introduction of the Werther effect.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. not to mention though that there was a cult that they all did it in America not that long ago, wasn't there?
Oh, it's Heaven's Gate,
Well
because they
into
all
it.
had the same
Yeah.
trainers, didn't they? There was that
Yeah.
specific Nikes that they were getting cheap, weren't it?
Mm.
Was that
Yeah.
the eunuch cult, or was that another one?
It was heaven. No, was it? I thought, yeah, it was Heaven's Gate, wasn't it? I'm not sure if there was a sub name to it, but
No, I mean, were they the ones where they were all eunuchs as well? Because there was one of those suicide cults where they were all eunuchs. I think that might be the one where they chop
maybe
their
that
tackle
was
off.
why. Maybe that's why they committed suicide.
Mm.
Nothing to
No,
live
they
for
were
anymore.
committing suicide because Hale Bop was coming along, weren't it? And if you kill yourself, then you can get onto Hale Bop, the comet.
Mm. If you've only got one ball as well, you might not want to live. Hitler committed suicide. Hitler committed suicide. He only had one, didn't he?
Yeah.
The other was in the Albert Hall.
Yeah, his mother, the dirty bugger, chopped it off when he was small, didn't she?
Yeah.
So social changes associated with the Enlightenment also contributed to a change in the reporting of suicide and greater empathy towards those who killed themselves, as they were understood to be psychologically unbalanced. Prior to the 18th century, fellow de se, willful self-murder.
So people who commit...
That sounds like trying to blow yourself, doesn't it, fellow de se?
So people who commit suicide are psychologically unbalanced, are they? There's a surprise.
Yeah, was considered, but so willful self-murder was considered both a sin against God and a crime against the king, and the deceased would be punished accordingly. Their impaled corpses buried at crossroads, their belongings becoming the property of the state. As historian Roy Porter observes, such judgments were ceased with the Restoration and the increased medicalisation of a society that saw the deceased described as non compos mentis. The suicide ceased to be a source of evil, instead became worthy of sympathy. Don't you find it weird that at times such as like back then they valued life more than they do now?
Yes, it was a simpler time.
Yeah, a gentler time.
Non-compos mentis is when you've got nothing to fertilise your garden with, isn't it?
Non-compos mentis. Yeah.
This is a bit like QI tonight.
I thought that was when you'd run out of Murray mints.
Yeah.
More recently, the contemporary fascination with stardom has also been linked to copycat suicides, with the number of reported suicides increasing after the suicide of a celebrity. For example, following rock star Kurt Cobain's demise. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy, but Kurt Cobain didn't kill himself.
It's someone else pulled the trigger.
Yeah. That's that's a whole episode in itself. Have you looked into the
27 Club,
the Kurt Cobain suicide?
Well, only
Courtney did it.
Really? Is that what they're saying?
The way that one was.
Well,
what
it's what that. It's what that.
I like to. Go on.
I was just
saying that I was just going to report on my dump. I was saying it's what I like to call a science lesson. It's a nice mix of solid, liquid, and gas.
Yeah. Pebble dash the pan.
Sorry, carry on.
Was it a flock of pigeons? Was it?
Maybe it was. In that case, maybe it was Yoko that shot John Lennon in the back.
Anyway, back to Kurt Cobain for a second. Have you seen the Nick Broomfield documentary? Kurt and Courtney.
I don't know. There was
the one where there's that massively drunk guy and he's going, "I know, did it? All you gotta do is give me some money, man." And like like Nick Broomfield's going, "Well, this man obviously doesn't know anything about suicide."
I saw one where and there was something about there was like a PS at the bottom and it was written in completely different handwriting to the rest. It said, "P.S. Oh, I really love you, Courtney." So they reckon that I don't know. It was really weird.
And there's also the fact that she wasn't home, but she booked an electrician to go to the exact room that Kurt killed himself with. And apparently she had to go back to show him where the room was.
Yeah. And she was in the middle of recording her album, which was called Live Through This.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I've got it. It's a good album.
What's the other one's supposed to be good, isn't it? What's Hole's album?
Pretty on the Inside.
Celebrity. What's it called?
Pretty Skin, I think.
Yeah, that's a good tune. That is Celebrity Skin is.
Yeah, I got the first 2 albums, but haven't got that one.
I was more of an L7 man than a Courtney.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you remember Denita Sparks? On the
The
word?
Word,
She dropped her trousers.
Oh, she moved her guitar and
Yeah.
Threw a bloody
I-
tampon into the crowd, basically.
Grim. So anyway, copycat suicides reveal something bleak about human nature. A startling lack of originality. Oof. And in some circumstances, the need to repeat actions simply because of the belief that the meaning the media ascribed to one suicide will have equal resonance with its mimicry. In his book, The Culture of the Copy, Hillel Schwartz cites the 19th century doctor J.B. Casimir, who lamented that one suicide would be followed by madly sadly by others. Proof that people have a blind tendency to repeat what strikes them most deeply, even to the point of self-destruction.
It's like, oh, what should I do now? I'm a bit bored. Oh, Jeff down the road just committed suicide. I might give that a go.
Why can't someone off Love Island commit suicide so we can have a bit of so we can clear out a few dinos? While copycat deaths transpire over a period of time, radiating outwards like ripples in a pool. They even romanticising suicide here in the article. It's ridiculous, isn't it? The suicide pact is a simultaneous act during which a number of participants kill themselves together in a shared space. In recent years, the number of such... Because this ain't the internet, I've got to flick the page over. Such suicide pacts, known as Shinju, reported from Japan has increased. The first, and at the time... That's weird, that stuff in... You ever heard about that stuff in Japan where they have, like, the fainting epidemics?
Yeah, there's all sorts of... There's a laughing epidemic and a dancing epidemic.
Oh, is there? I've heard about my favourites are always the penis stealing epidemics in Africa.
Penis stealing?
You don't know about penis stealing, Dom?
What, as in, like, they cut them off?
Yeah, no. What happens is they shake hands with a wizard and their penis disappears.
Right.
Is anyone caught this on film?
I think it's more like, well, he stole my penis, so I got better. You know, it's a bit like Monty Python, The Holy Grail, isn't it?
I think that's going to be the name of my first album, Shake Hands with the Wizard.
Yeah, Shake Hands with the Wizard.
And mine will be Shake Hands with the Wizard sleeve.
The Shinju, reported from Japan, has increased. The first and, at the time, largest suicide pact to have occurred and was reported right widely across the Western media. On 12th of October 2004, a van containing the corpses of 7 young people was discovered in the Saitama Mountains near Tokyo. The same day, a car containing 2 corpses was found in the city's south. In both cases, the deceased had killed themselves by sealing the vehicles to impede the airflow before igniting charcoal stoves. Fucking hell, that's a bit... Why don't they just run a fucking pipe through?
They have that suicide forest, don't they, in Japan as well, with the YouTube
Yeah. Do you
guy
remember when Jake Paul went there and he got in no end of shit?
Well, I'm not surprised. He found a dead person and made light of it.
Yeah.
In Japan, it's
we
shame
do that.
is a big part
We
of their
do
culture,
that, but we haven't. We make fun of dead people, but we haven't got 10 million followers or whatever he's got.
Yeah.
so we haven't got the influence.
I was saying that shame is a big part of their culture, and it's like a really bad thing, and I think that's what drives a lot of people to suicide. But, you know, if you got drunk the night before and got your cock out in front of everyone or something, that's like
set fire to a fridge. Yeah.
Oh,
you'll set fire to a fridge. Yeah, seppuku. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they. Fucking hell, that's grim, isn't it? Because that's where they stick the knife in and then like yank it both ways, don't they?
Yeah, literally gut themselves.
Form of Harry Carey.
Jesus, are these do they not? Can you not buy a hose pipe in Japan? Because they seal the vehicles to impede airflow before igniting charcoal stoves, dying of carbon monoxide poisoning. Why not just run the fucking hose pipe through?
That's how Jack from On the Buses did himself. The actor.
Oh, was it? Oh, I didn't know he committed
Yeah.
suicide. I know he died.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, he did it that way. He was so stereotyped as being Jack from On the Buses that he couldn't get any other acting jobs, and it did his head in, because he was quite a he was a Shakespearean actor.
I am a thusp. I'm a thespian. You know,
He got loads of pantomime gigs, though, I'm sure.
No, he couldn't get much. He couldn't get much. He was just known for chasing Crumpet around the depot.
Fuck, that must be terrible. Having to act with all those sexy birds. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, all those clippies. Whoa.
Ooh, blimey! I found another bit in the side panel. So where was I? So in the attempt to ensure a comfortable death, several of the dead had also swallowed sleeping pills. A note found amongst the bodies read simply, "We planned this together. This was not a criminal incident."
What, they swallowed sleeping pills as well as doing another method?
Just absolute pussy way out.
Just to make sure.
Not enough blood, no spectacle. Just what an absolute virginal way to go out.
Hitler took a suicide pill and then shot himself just to make sure.
The biggest one was...
Didn't David Kelly slit his wrist with a rusty knife and then hang himself? Just to make sure. No, he hung himself and then slit his wrists just to make sure, didn't he?
The biggest one was the Jonestown massacre, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, have you heard the reports of when they had to pick the bodies up? They had to pick the bodies up with snow shovels because they tried picking the bodies up, but it was so hot that literally just like arms came off and things like that. So they had to pick them up with snow shovels. 1,000 bodies, nearly 1,000 bodies they had to get rid of.
Nearly 1,000. And basically, they had to. That's where the phrase "drinking the Kool-Aid" comes from.
Yeah, do you know what the real pisser is? It's like it wasn't even Kool-Aid. It was like Happy Shopper Kool-Aid, weren't it?
Yeah, it was like an off-brand one.
Off-brand Kool-Aid. Poor old Kool-Aid had to cut with a fallout for that, didn't they?
Apparently, they had enforcers that would shoot people who refused to do it, or any who tried to escape and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, that was crazy. That was, wasn't it, Jonestown? That's what communism does for you.
Yeah.
Subsequent successful suicide pacts have followed a similar pattern. Those involved initially communicate online in chat rooms where they arrange to meet in order to kill themselves. Often the modus operandi is the same: inhalation of fumes from cut charcoal burners in a confined space, commonly either a car or small apartment, any gaps or vents sealed with tape. Between 2003 and 2005, there were 61 reported suicide pacts in Japan. This method of suicide is commonly perceived as painless, although there is no evidence for this, and unlike jumping, wrist cutting, hanging, or overdosing, does not disfigure the deceased, making it attractive to those who literally want to die young and leave a good-looking corpse.
So what you're saying is that suicide is painless?
Yeah.
The Manic Street Preachers.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wonder how many of the audience are going to get this one. More disturbingly, it is a suicide method that is truly communal, as well as each participant dies suffocating together. As information about charcoal burning as a method of suicide spread via the internet, it emerged as the chosen method of other death pacts, including groups beyond Japan. In Hong Kong, between 2002 and 2003, there were 22 suicide pacts, of which 20 used charcoal burning. Speaking of charcoal burning, there was a self-immolation epidemic. This is in the side panel. Between October 1978 and October 1979, 82 people, mostly young single men and older married women, died by burning themselves to death in England and Wales. Did you know about this? I've never heard about this one.
Isn't this connected to spontaneous human combustion?
I don't know. These suicides by fire were not seen by researchers John Ashton and Stuart Donnan as primarily political protests like most self-immolations, but as an epidemic triggered by one such fiery death. In late September 1978, Lynette Phillips, a 24-year-old Australian heiress, was arrested in London and deported after she said she was going to kill herself in Parliament Square. Phillips was a member of PROUT, that's P-R-O-U-T, the Progressive Utilisation Theory, an Asian-based religious sect Prout had developed out of a political and religious conflict within the Gandhi family's leadership of India, and had been involved in protests both there and at Indian consulates in Australia and England against that government's outlawing of their organisation. By the time Phillips was deported, seven Prout members had burned themselves to death. On the 2nd of October 1978, Phillips, that's picture below, which obviously you can't see, set herself alight in front of the Palais des Nations in Geneva, Switzerland. Her statement made it clear that she had committed suicide to bring about a more speedy change in the world order. Did it work? Do we reckon it worked?
No, so that's not a very good. It's not a very good method, that though, because you might survive, mightn't you?
Oh, fucking hell, yeah.
If you're gonna do it, then
might have worked. The speedy change in the world order. We've now got the World Economic Forum, so
yeah, maybe. 3 days after the Phillips suicide, Pamela Evans Cooper followed suit on the banks of the Thames at Windsor. By the end of the month, England and Wales were in the midst of a full-scale self-incineration cluster. 10 people had died by burning. Reports in the British media noticed 6 similar suicides throughout the Commonwealth. Soon after the start of this cluster, suicide researchers Ashton and Donnan noted the potential beginnings of an epidemic and began obtaining death certificates and coroner's reports. They then discovered the extent of self-burnings. Later, after analysing all the data, they wrote, What we have called an epidemic is, we think, an example of the phenomenon of imitation. There can be little doubt that the spread of the specific epidemic must have been mediated by news coverage. Deaths occurring in this manner tend to be widely reported. The English and Welsh suicides by fire decreed as 1979 coming to an end. I can't imagine that is a way that I would ever want to die. What do you think's worse, being burnt to death or drowning?
they're both slow and painful.
Mm.
I would think.
What would be your preferred method?
I think drowning would be quicker, isn't it? Eh?
I don't know. Death by face sitting, maybe.
Yeah.
No, you want to go like that bloke in Monty Python, don't you? Where you chased by the women with the big tits. Do you remember
Based off a cliff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll be running towards them.
The meaning of life is so funny, isn't it? Every sperm is sacred.
like the was it in it reminds me of women chasing off the cliff. Reminds me of in the Holy Grail, where all the women in the castle want to have oral sex, and then then his mates come and rescue him, and he's like, no, I don't need it.
One of my favourite bits in that, you know, the bit when John Cleese is running towards the castle, and then you see him running towards the castle, and then you hear the drums, don't you? Then the shot changes, and he's further back, and then he's further back, and then he's further back, and then all of a sudden he just appears and just starts killing everybody, doesn't he?
I love the ending as well, where like they had to have this big battle, and then he's turn up and arrest them all because earlier on they killed a historian. Apparently that ending was they had to compromise because they didn't have the budget for a big battle. And it turned out way better.
and the scene with the knights getting his arms cut off and all that stuff, that was stolen from another film.
Was it?
Yeah, Dracula versus Frankenstein, a 1970 film, which is terrible, but it's worth seeing. And that happens in there. Dracula does that to the Frankenstein monster, and Terry Gilliam.
You like your horror, don't you, Ian? I watched. I
like my vintage horror.
I watched Tenebrae the other day. You were a fan of Argento? Is that Argento, isn't it?
Yeah, I like the old Universal ones. Or the low budget ones. They're so bad that they're good, and Ed Wood as well.
I watched it because I've subscribed to that. Do you know Shudder, the horror film streaming platform? I've subscribed to that. There's some good documentaries on there about films. I watched one last night. It was quite a lot. It was about special effects. They had Tom Savini on there.
Yeah,
and he was heavily influenced by all that, wasn't he?
Yeah, and there's some good documentaries on The Evil Dead about when they made that. Sam Raimi directed it when he was 19. So
Yeah.
yeah,
That's like a
so it should be
student flick, isn't it? Basically.
It is. It's a
Evil
good
Dead.
film, though. Eh?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
prefer I like the third one.
Yeah, no. I like the original. The second one was just kind of like a remake of the first with a bigger
Yeah.
budget, wasn't it? But the first one was good. They did what they could with
Are they supposed to be
what they got.
distinct films, or is it just accepted that Evil Dead 2 is a remake of Evil Dead 1?
No, it's supposed to be a sequel, isn't it? It takes off from where the first one finished, so it's supposed to be a
The
sequel.
same things happen pretty much.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the third one's like, is like the proper sequel. Is into the
That's
past.
not really a horror film, is it? Though that's more.
No, it's more of a sort of it's a comedy horror adventure.
It's a swashbuckling, isn't it, with zombies. I think it's probably the way you
See,
describe
Sam Raimi wanted to do other things when he made that.
it. Yeah.
Some of the best lines in it, though.
Yes.
What's that when he says something to the bird? Hey, baby, or something like that, doesn't he?
Give me some
That's just
sugar,
pillow
baby.
talk. That's just, no, it's when he goes, that's just pillow talk, baby. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, it's just pillow talk. Yeah, and she says, "You found me beautiful once," and he says, "Honey, you got real ugly."
Yeah.
I think the best line from a horror film, though, is, "I don't find this in the least bit amusing."
Oh,
What's
American
that?
Werewolf in London. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy on the underground.
Oh shit! Yeah. Can I have a piece of toast? That was because that was one of the films that got mentioned. I remember that clip.
It's that American Werewolf in London and The Thing are my two favourite films.
Oh, just the American Werewolf in London shit me up when I was a kid. I watched it when I was about 8 or 9. Was when I watched that.
Yeah, I used to watch
because the effects are just so good, aren't they?
I used to watch all the sort of 80s horror films like when I was about 8 or 9 because my parents wouldn't let me.
Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Like 80s. Let's be honest. 80s 18 certificate horror films are made for 12-year-olds. Let's be honest about it, aren't they?
The bit where he opens his eyes in the bed when he's in the bed in the woods. That's a good jump scare. That's the only bit that shut me up.
It's like creepy as well, isn't it? His dreams are like really creepy. And the SS
when he wakes up
zombies.
from the dream twice, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then the SS zombie kills the nurse.
Yeah.
when she was nice. Not like now. We've seen her now.
Yeah.
She's easy. It's a shame, isn't it?
Jenny Agutter. Is Jenny Agutter like the early 80s Demi Moore? Like where whatever it is, she has to get her tits out.
I did feel really jealous when he went down on her and that.
Like when I was a kid though, like my dad always drummed into me it wasn't real. So I always used to watch horror films just like enjoying the craft of like how it was made.
Yeah. So basically I used to go around my mate's house. His mum was like a real pushover, so we'd convince her to take us down the video shop and we'd get all the kind of the latest horror film out and she'd get it for us.
Or Porky's. That was always a good one to watch.
Oh, Porky's is hilarious. The bit where that fucking woman's pulling that bloke's dick. She said, "I know it again if I'd see it."
Oh, that's also like the when he's in the porn theatre. That scene, like the little.
She's
porn
actually a proper
flick,
porn actress, isn't she? In that,
the one in the that's playing on the screen.
Yeah, when she gets the wrong number, don't she? No, this is 88398.
No, and a bloke walks in and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And she's like, "I've never seen you before in my life." And he's like, "Oh, sorry," and walks out again.
John Landis actually made a porn film he made that porn film for that scene. Yeah,
you can see he did because he did everything to kind of avoid making an actual porn film, like the wrong number and the bloke coming in and stuff like that, wasn't it?
So it was absolutely brilliant. It had everything, like the practical effects, the humour, the scene in Piccadilly Circus where he breaks out of the porn theatre and you just got all the complete chaos.
He bites that
Rick Mayall, doesn't he? Rick Mayall as well.
Mayall and
Brian Glover.
Glover.
Yeah, Brian Glover's brilliant in it, isn't he?
And the taxi driver is Bricktop from what do we call it? Lock,
And I
Stock.
think one of the cops was actually in the bill as well in later days, so he played a cop in that year.
Yeah,
Brian
really
Glover,
really
yeah,
good
so
film.
that was a good one.
That's probably like the thing is that there's a real like lack of decent. There isn't like the werewolf film, is there? Like that's the werewolf film, but there isn't like a Dracula version of a werewolf film that's that good. Is
I think
there?
werewolves are a bit shit though, aren't they? It's difficult to. They're not that good, are they? Werewolves.
Mm.
Yeah.
Dog
that's part of the
Soldiers
problem.
is good.
Dog Soldiers, yeah, that is a very good werewolf film.
Yeah.
Yeah, the humour in that as well.
Mm.
Just the references when Spoon gets torn apart and he says, "There is no spoon."
Yeah, it's a shame Sean Pertwee never did. Sean Pertwee's been in loads of films, but he's never been in like a really good film, has he?
Well, apart from Dog Soldiers.
Yeah.
He was in some like a Talos the Mummy. It was awful.
What's that? There was a film I watched. It was like early 2000. No, it was late 90s. There was a mummy film, and it was really, really good. It was
with the guy from The Evil Dead in it.
No,
I like the old black and white one. Was that Boris Karloff, the Mummy?
Lon Chaney. Oh, yeah, it was actually. That was the first one. It was a bit boring, that film.
Waxwork's a good film. You seen Waxwork?
Yeah, Waxworks, where they push him into the exhibit, and
yeah. That's
That
got
was
a decent mummy scene in it, where that mummy stands on that bloke's head and crushes it.
Yeah. And I like the thing where they've got the vampires have got that man's. They're like stripping the flesh off his lower leg, and he's still alive.
Yeah,
that was a very good film. That.
Was it the
And also-
Merman's in it as well?
So Gremlins is the best Christmas film ever.
What about Jaws the Revenge? Jaws the Revenge is a Christmas film as well.
Well, you know, I've told this story about 1 million times online, but the story is that Michael Caine saw the script. It said "Fade in Bahamas," and he said, "I'll take it."
I don't think Jaws the Revenge is. What was Jaws? Was it Christmas? In the
it was.
film?
Was it?
Yeah, because when he's at the beginning when he goes out, there's some wood stuck in the water, so it's Brody's son who's the actual police chief now. So and he goes out in a boat and gets eaten by the shark, but you can't hear much because they're singing Christmas.
And there's
Christmas
that
carols.
bullshit fucking story about like the sharks particularly picking on the Brodies.
Well, that shark wasn't it? It followed them to the Bahamas.
I mean, they could have. And they should have just moved inland.
Should have just moved in.
They tried to get Roy Scheider to be in that, but he didn't want to know.
I'm not.
He didn't want to do
surprised.
Jaws 2. He didn't want to do Jaws 2, but he was under contract or something. So
It was in. Have you seen Naked Lunch?
No, I still haven't watched that yet.
Fucked up film, that one.
Yeah, that's Burroughs, isn't it? William S. Burroughs.
Yeah. A proper trip. That.
there's a Jaws play, isn't there, at the moment? Have you seen?
It's about the making of, isn't it?
And Robert Shaw's son plays his father in the play, so that's quite.
Robert Shaw was a Bond villain, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's been in a few things. He was in The Sting as well, but he was one of those hell actors, wasn't he? Apparently, he was like Oliver Reed, that kind of drinking actor type bloke. He was pissed in Jaws, but that helped his performance.
Yeah, because
like
the what's it?
Type.
His speech about the Indianapolis, that was all ad lib, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And him and Hooper didn't get on. Richard Jeffreys, they didn't get on, and that helped as well.
I didn't.
So yeah, but
have you read the book? Have you read the book?
I have. Yeah, it's quite good. Yeah,
the book's better. The book's way better than the film, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It's more.
I actually, I listened. I was flicking through. I was on my way to a mate's house a while ago, and I was flicking through the radio, and they were reading out the book, basically doing a kind of
Hooper
video
dies
play of
in
it.
the book, doesn't he?
Yeah, I thought the interesting part was like it made more sense that the mayor was keeping the beach open because he was under pressure from mob bosses, weren't he?
Yeah, there was only so much you can do in an hour and a half. Though the book goes, you know, you can do the book.
Yeah,
goes
I
otherwise
think
would be-
I think if they'd have just explained that bit, I think it would have made it's already a
And-
brilliant film, but I think it just would have like made that
Well,
like a bit
yeah.
less,
There's
a bit
when you
more-
see
make
the
a bit more
shark, though,
sense.
that's a bit of a that ruins it, doesn't it? 'Cause it doesn't really look. It doesn't look
Yeah.
like a shark, and it hardly moves as well.
And it's also there is no film that can compare to no film adaptation that can compare to the book version because of the level of detail, and then you've got your own imagination and just some.
But if they at least
better
attempted to
experience.
put the book on screen, it would make things a lot better.
And when
Yeah.
when the shark, in the film though, the shark, it is a better way to kill the shark, because in the book the shark just dies. The shark's about to eat Brody, but then the shark just drops dead.
Those are natural causes.
Well, just because they had a big fight and it's been harpooned, so it's approaching Brody and then just runs out of steam and dies. So I think the explosion in the book is a better death for the shark. But what's his name? In the book though, Quint doesn't get eaten by the shark. He gets caught on they harpoon the shark, and he gets his leg caught on the rope, and the shark drags him under. So a bit like Captain Ahab in Moby Dick.
Although where films do better than books is where they're adapted from short stories.
Apart from the Lawnmower
story.
Man, has anybody here read the Lawnmower Man, the short story?
Oh no.
Oh right, the Lawnmower Man, the short story. A guy runs over a cat on his lawnmower, so can't face doing the lawn anymore. So the lawn gets way out of hand. So he hires a gardening company. The guy from the gardening company turns out to be Pan and sacrifices him in the bird bath. That's
Right.
the story of the Lawnmower Man. Like absolutely nothing like.
Yeah. And also Blade Runner was Do Androids Dream of Electric
Yeah, I
Sheep?
need to read that again. I read it a while ago. I need to read it again. I've got that.
And Hellraiser, isn't it? I think that was a short story, was it not?
That was a short story. Hellraiser's been finished off now, hasn't it, by Clive Barker? He did the Scarlet Gospels.
Oh, I don't know. There's a new film.
I don't know whether you've read a book. I don't know whether you've read a lot of Clive Barker, but he has a character called Harry D'Amour. He's in
I've not read much.
Have you seen Lord of Illusions? With Scott Bakula
I've
in
seen
it?
quite a few of his films. I've seen Candyman, which is
Did
Purple Aki.
Nightbreed, didn't he? Was it him that did Nightbreed?
Yes. Yeah, you see the director's cut that's come out now. Makes a little bit more sense.
The original was a bit pants, the film.
It had a lot of potential, but it just kind of wasted it, didn't it?
Yeah,
David
great special effects.
David Cronenberg was really good in that as the serial killer, weren't he?
Yeah, had great special effects, but the story was a bit it's all over the place.
Bit meh. Yeah. Yeah, you seen Rawhead Rex? Rawhead Rex is funny.
Oh, I've heard about that. What's one I want to see?
You want to dig that out? That is a funny film. It's like really old and it's not very good, but like it's basically the story is. Have you read any of Clive Barker's Books of Blood?
I think I have actually. Yeah.
Hellraiser's
a long time ago.
Hellraiser's in the Books of Blood.
Yeah,
Not Hellraiser. Candyman. Candyman is one of them.
Yeah.
Isn't that based on a guy in Liverpool who goes around feeling blokes' muscles?
You're nearly there. It is actually based in a Liverpool like sink council estate.
But they say that it is based on Purple Aki.
Really?
Clive Barker knew, because it wasn't. It was a bit. Purple Aki was a bit of a myth in Liverpool at the time. We weren't sure whether he was real or not. Plus, also, Clive Barker was gay, and Purple Aki was well known in the gay community as well, because obviously.
Right. But the Candyman in the book is specifically like very pale and white.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but that was just what the film did,
Mm.
and I think the new version there's a lot of slavery, isn't it, connected to it? But the book isn't about that.
Yeah.
But even though, yeah,
the book have bees in it.
I don't
I'm not
think it did.
sure.
I don't think it did. It was like sweets with razor blades was like the motif I remember from it.
And the Candyman was a bit like a tramp type person, wasn't he? He wasn't.
Yeah. It was a weird thing. It was really weird. But a lot of those books of blood are really weird.
I like the comment from Silosodus.
Yeah.
Razor is class. She went and did all that for a good shag, the dirty cow.
Yeah, Claire. Yeah. Have you watched Hellraiser recently? I watched it a little while ago. Have you noted it's set in England, but the cops have American cop uniforms on, talk with American accents?
I think there's a reason for that. I read there was a reason for it. I think they were. I think it's supposed to be set in America because husband is American, but the actor is English. So it was filmed in England, I think, for budget reasons. It's supposed to be America.
It just makes no sense when you watch it. It's like, what the fuck is going on?
It's got a bit of a Hammer vibe about it.
Yeah, Hammer vibe.
Who's the woman in it?
Do you remember Frank from it? He was in the Guinness adverts. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah.
Who was the woman in it? Julia, wasn't it? That was
Julia.
the original.
Oh,
yeah,
Claire. It was Claire then. I thought her name was Claire.
Like the daughter.
Ah, right. Okay then.
But the second, is it the second one where he's the guy is he's in a mental a doctor, isn't he, in an asylum? That's the second one.
Yeah, it's that geezer. He's quite a common actor, isn't he? Yeah.
Well, the Julia is quite. She was quite a a theatre actress as well. So
yeah.
But the special effects are a bit dodgy in that, though, aren't they? The second one, if you've watched it lately, bit of stop motion type stuff.
Do you not
going
like
on.
stop motion? I prefer stop motion to CGI.
I prefer straight practical effects with like pumps to pump the blood out and latex.
Yeah, because I recently watched. You guys know Phil Tippett, the special effects guy. He's got a new film out called Mad God, and it is fucking weird.
All right.
It is weird. That's all I'll say about it.
The trouble with animatronic special effects. So if you look at American Werewolf in London, you don't get to see the full wolf, do you? In one shot, it's always half on the because it's some bloke with levers at the other, just on the back end of it. So
I was listening to there's a great YouTube channel called Toy Galaxy, and speaking of animatronics, they were talking about Alf. I don't know whether you know, but you remember Alf, the TV series?
Yeah.
I don't know whether you know, but the whole set was built on top, so it was like hollow floor, and the cast nearly fell down quite a few times because Alf was animatronic, so they had to work him from underneath.
I thought it was a hand puppet, like from the Muppets.
No, he was, but he was like full size, so they had to run around under the floor and work him that way. Because apparently the guy who played Alf would never acknowledge that he wasn't Alf. It was really weird. He was like doing a bit the whole time.
Proper method actor.
Yeah.
It's weird. Alf is a method actor.
Yeah.
Yes, some peculiar things going on. But yeah.
Oh, what did you think of Gremlins 2?
I quite enjoyed it. I thought they took it and expanded it, didn't it? It was quite funny.
It was less horror and more comedy, and it's like the boss of the company.
Oh,
Daniel Clamp, and is so obviously Donald Trump.
Absolutely wasn't Donald Trump. He was 25% different. I watched what was it? That documentary I watched last night. They're also talking to Joe Dante about it, and he was moaning about all the Gremlins rip-offs that came after it. You know, like Critters and Ghoulies. He was moaning.
Ghoulies,
Do you
yeah.
remember Ghoulies? Do you remember that?
I remember Ghoulies 2, and then Critters 1, 2, and 3, I think.
I saw
4.
Gremlins.
No,
I
don't
saw
forget.
Gremlins in the cinema.
Don't forget Critters 4, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio in it.
Oh yeah. That was one of his first roles, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I used to be allowed to go to the cinema every Christmas, and that was one that I saw one year, Gremlins. And I think the previous year I saw Jaws 3D in the cinema.
Oh, Jaws 3D was a good. I never saw it 3D. I never saw it on TV.
Oh, you've got
But
to see it 3D.
The cheesy bit at the end with the teeth.
Dolphins. Oh yeah.
That would have been Anaglyph. Was that Anaglyph 3D?
I don't know, but you had to put glasses on and just sit there.
With the different colours. That was the ones with the different colours, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. It was like you had the same. It was like sunglasses.
Oh, was it? Oh, right. Because I watched Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy's Dead. Remember that one? And that was Anaglyph 3D, which is awful because it's basically like watching a black and white film. Because you got red one eye and green the other, haven't you? And it just like fucks everything up. So you might as well be watching a black and white film.
Yeah. Did you ever have one of those viewers? It was like a little red plastic thing.
Yeah.
And you looked through it.
Yeah.
The little circle, and you put it in, and it was like a 3D image. And I had like Gremlins scenes from Gremlins,
I had Spider-Man city scenes.
Spider-Man, I had that. I had Spider-Man as well.
I had Lassie. That was when I had.
Fucking hell, I bet you had the old Bakelite one, didn't you, Ian? You ever seen I've seen those places before. Like they did before the red plastic ones. They had like a brown Bakelite one, didn't they?
No, I had a red one.
Yeah. But what they were called? I have to Google this.
Something
Viewfinder.
viewer, weren't it? Viewfinder. Yeah.
I think they're probably worth a few quid now in good condition.
Yeah, I used to love mine. I thought they were brilliant. I kept mine for years.
Before the days of the internet, that's what we had.
Peach Dragon, that was another one I had.
Viewmaster.
Viewmaster, yeah.
Looking forward to Gremlins 3. They're not actually making a Gremlins 3, are they?
I'm surprised they haven't remade it, though. Have they not done a remake in recent years?
It's going to be woke, isn't it? The Gremlins are going to be like black and gay.
But did you see the last Halloween film?
Oh no, he could. Did you know what really upset me about that most of all? It was like when they turned him into Freddy at the end. It's like, oh no, he hasn't died because we're all scared of him.
Yeah.
I just thought that was awful. The whole thing is, he's like, the fucker just won't die because he's so insane. That's basically the thing with him, isn't it?
Well, yeah, I think that he should have just left the first one alone. That was a good ending, wasn't it?
What do you think of the Rob Zombie version?
No,
I
enjoyed it, but it's very.
It was enjoyable, but it was a bit too. It was a bit too ham-fisted, I thought.
Mm.
I've seen both. I like Rob Zombie though. Have you seen like the Devil's? Was it House of a Thousand Corpses, the Devil's Rejects, and isn't there a third one as well?
Yeah, they're good, and I like his music, like his solo music, and White Zombie as well.
Was it I watched? I started watching 31 the other day, but I'm not taken with it.
Oh, what that is?
It's really weird. It's some load of people get kidnapped. Obviously, Sherry Moon Zombie is one of them. Does he like get no sex if he doesn't put her in a film? Is that what it is? So they get kidnapped and they put in like a maze thing where they've got to fight their way out.
Right. In Halloween 2, she was the woman with the horse, wasn't she? Whatever that was about.
The woman with the I don't remember Halloween. I watched Halloween 2, but I don't remember it.
You mean the Rob Zombie version?
Yeah.
She's his wife, isn't she?
Yeah, he puts her in every film. And she was in that. It was some kind of dream sequence, and there was a white horse and a woman in a white dress or something. And Yeah, she was the woman in the white dress. But yeah, I didn't like those really. The good thing, see, the beauty about Halloween, the original, is it's so simple, isn't it? It's not complicated.
Yeah. Well,
Whereas the Rob Zombie one goes a bit too much, it's a
yeah.
bit too much, isn't it? Even though it is
The
based
thing
on the
about the
first.
original is you don't see much of Michael Myers, and it's because of budget reasons that.
Mm.
And but usually those budget reasons lead on to an increase in suspense. So
then yeah, exactly. But then I don't see why, because it was not as it wouldn't be that expensive to put him on screen more. It's not it's a William Shatner mask painted white, isn't it?
yeah,
Yes.
So
The
it's not like
problem with
the anime.
problem with Rob Zombie is that he sets everything in the 70s, doesn't he? That's the problem with Rob Zombie.
Malcolm
think
McDowell is in that one.
what you were saying about the it wouldn't be expensive. I think the expense would come from the stunts that would be involved. You'd have to get stunt teams and whatnot.
When you get making a low budget film, you just do the stunts yourself, isn't it? A few different people did, some of the tech people played Michael Myers in some of the shots. So, and I think John Carpenter himself even did play it as well in some scenes. But, yeah.
What's it? There's one. I can't remember what film it was, but I was listening to a review of it, and it's one of the films where Adrienne Barbeau dies at the end, and I think it might even be Escape from New York, but that was like a reshoot, but he had to do it on his like garage floor.
He wanted Peter Cushing. He wanted Peter Cushing to be Dr. Loomis, but he was too busy making Star Wars at the time, so he got Donald Pleasance instead.
I haven't watched any interviews, but Alec Guinness hated doing Star Wars, didn't he? Just absolutely disgusted with it, wasn't he?
Thought it was absolute trash because he read the script and thought, "What is this shit?" And
I think he had a good deal. I think he had a good deal out of it. He had a cut in the toys. His contract was something like that, so he had a he had a cut of the merchandising money, so he did well out of that.
Yeah,
pretty much everyone had a real good deal out of it because they were like, okay, we'll take a percentage.
Yeah.
Whereas Mark Hamill was like, oh no, he was like young and naive and was like, I'll just take the money. So he just got a really bad deal just by taking it.
To be fair, you can't blame him because nobody knew what Star Wars would earn, did they?
No, no one had
even Kenner didn't Kenner. Like the toy people didn't even know because Star Wars started all of that, didn't it?
Yeah.
And not only that, Mark Hamill was pissed off because he was the star of the film, all the young actors, and he was the star, and it was Harrison Ford that went on to have the career. So, but
Mark Hamill did the square root of fuck all for years, did he?
And he got to come back to Star Wars, and they shat all over his role.
Yeah.
Have you seen the interviews with him? Complaining with the director sat right next to him, like just complaining about it. It's worth looking up.
The Jake Skywalker stuff. He said it's not even Luke Skywalker, it's Jake Skywalker or something like that.
And it was what's that guy's name? Guy who made the second of the new Star Wars film.
Oh, the guy who did Knives Out, and it's Rian Johnson. It's supposed to be Ryan, but it's spelled Rian, isn't it?
Yeah, and he was like, "Oh, it's all about subverting expectations." That's what his idea was. He subverted expectations so far, it made it shit.
To be fair, back to horror films, like the Evil Dead remake is kind of okay, and that subverts expectations, doesn't it?
I've not seen that, or I've not seen the series either. If that's any good.
No, I haven't seen that. Lucy Lawless is in that, isn't she?
Oh, is she?
Yeah. Ash versus the Evil Dead.
She was in a Spartacus, Blood and Sand. Quite good.
I didn't watch any of that. Did you get her tits out in it? There's a lot of tits out in that.
Everyone gets their tits out in that, yeah. Good. Another good horror is the John Carpenter one as well, is In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, Sam Neill's great, isn't he? It's like Sam Neill, what's the first film you saw Sam Neill in? Me, it was Omen 3.
No, I first saw him in what's the Australian soap set in the war, The Sullivans.
The Sullivans.
Oh,
Was
The
he in
Yeah,
that?
he was
really?
he was in that. That was when I first saw
Yeah.
him. Because then I saw that. Then I saw Omen 3, and I thought, oh, blimey, that's the guy from The Sullivans. This is
If you watch, I first saw In the Mouth of Madness on acid, and if you watch it on acid, you actually feel the madness.
Remember, kids,
It's
don't
like-
do drugs.
It's like Norman Wisdom on acid.
Like Norman Wisdom on acid.
It's like Les Dawson on acid.
Do you remember that? Well, that was This Morning with Richard, Not Judy, when they said it's like Norman Wisdom on acid, and then they showed like a video camera footage of Norman Wisdom on acid in an office, and he's just like hiding under a desk.
Was that the word when they had the backstage cam when Ollie Reed was pissed out of his fucking brain? Was that word? Was
Richard,
it?
Oh, yes,
no, that was
Stuart Lee, wasn't it? Stuart Lee and Richard Herring was. That's right. Because what it was if you wanted to if you wanted to describe a modern comedian that you liked,
because they were describing
Lee
Evans,
say an old comedian, and then afterwards you say on acid. So
no, I'm talking
Lee
about.
Evans,
do you remember when Ollie Reed was absolutely pissed out of his brain on the show? Well, you know that.
No, that was the word. That was the word.
That was the word. And they had the backstage cam as well of him absolutely pissed out of his fucking brain.
Do you remember they'd have like, I'd do anything to be on TV, and they'd like eat a cube sandwich or something, or kiss a 90-year-old granny or
that
something.
bloke drank a pint of sick, didn't he? I remember that bloke drank a pint of sick, didn't he?
And all those years later, you had Jackass, which is they had that kind of thing going on.
Dirty Sanchez.
Yeah.
Oh, Dirty Sanchez. That's like a rough version of.
That was like Jackass on acid.
Jackass on acid. Oh, we need to get back to horror films because this is supposed to be a spooky podcast.
Yeah, well,
actually, Tom,
have you seen?
I think it was.
Have you seen the new Jackass film? It's supposed to be quite good. I've not seen it.
Is it? No, I've never really been a watcher of Jackass. It was always Dirty Sanchez. Yeah.
Yeah, I think with Jackass, I think they were more performers, weren't they? I think they had their background, so they could come across better on camera.
They're all old, and they're not as they don't recover.
That's why
easily.
I like Dirty Sanchez, because it was kind of raw, and you could see they were mates, couldn't you? And
they were taking things further, though, weren't they? But
that one.
Then it came after
when
Jackass.
Pancho was pissed and they duct taped dildos to his hands.
Who was the little guy? Was that Pancho?
That was Pancho.
Yeah.
These were they were just always really horrible to, weren't they?
No, the guy with the blonde highlights.
Yeah,
Pritchard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
He did the Oxford Union. You know, the Oxford Union. You go there, and people go there and do a speech. Yeah. Prolific people there. They did that. So.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
But I just remember the main thing I remember is when they put their ball in the pool table.
Dayton. It was Dayton. Yeah. It was Dayton and Pritchard. Because I remember Dayton did the tattoo on his dick of Pritchard, and Pritchard got really upset with it, didn't
he? Yes.
Well, it's all flooding back to me now.
But they have those things.
Back to me now.
Do the youth of today have anything like that now, or is it all sensible?
It's all sensible now.
You say the youth. I liked it. I liked it, and I was in my 30s, so it wasn't even the youth. Yeah.
All woke these days, then wouldn't be allowed.
Anyway, back to horror films. What horror films?
All right. What other ones do we like?
Cellar Dweller. Does anyone remember that?
Do you remember People Under the Stairs?
It sounds similar to Cellar Dweller.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's Wes Craven did it, and the pièce de résistance is where the bloke's running around in a gimp suit shooting the walls with a shotgun.
I don't remember.
Weirdo couple own a house, Actually, Ving Rhames is in it. He's like the big draw in it. Ving Rhames is in it. What happens is group of hood people break into like rich people's house. Shutters come down. They're trapped in there. Turns out that the family all the time have been cutting the tongues out of local kids, keeping them in the cellar, and now they're cannibalistic. So they murder people, throw the corpse down a chute, and then the people in the walls eat stuff.
All right.
Whatever's thrown down. So a very, very strange film.
Is it quite graphic as well?
It's kind of like, you imagine like Don't Breathe. It's quite a bit like that. You know,
is it anything like Human Centipede?
Not
Has anyone played Until Dawn?
No.
It's like a horror film.
Is that one with that
interactive?
I think I have played
horror
it, actually.
film. Yeah.
Is it the one with Rami Malek in it?
Yes.
Yes, I have played it.
Yeah. That's quite good.
Mm.
It's got the what are they called? Wendigos.
Yeah, that's a good fit. That's a pretty good game, actually.
Didn't we cover that? Didn't we cover that in the Christmas episode?
Wendigos.
Yeah, isn't it a Christmas demon or something? Or am I thinking
they're
of something
basically
else?
shapeshifters, like werewolves, but they're kind of from.
Is that what that new
American
horror
history.
film Horns is about? Isn't it? Where the kid becomes where people become Wendigos.
Has anyone seen the
Wicker Man.
Jesus Christ, no!
It's my favourite.
The funniest thing about the Wicker Man is when they go in the local shop and there's a big fucking you know, like the old tubs you used to get sweets in. It's one of those full of foreskins, and it's labelled foreskins.
You on about the original Wicker Man or the one with Nicolas Cage?
Oh,
He just goes around punching women.
I've not seen that one. I've not seen the Nicolas Cage one.
I've seen a bit of it. It just doesn't pack the punch that the original does it?
Yeah, I've been advised against it.
Is that a Hammer film? It's got to be a Hammer film, hasn't it?
No, it's not. Christopher Lee is in it, isn't he? But
It's got all the elements of a Hammer film, isn't it? It's shot very similarly and stuff like that.
Edward Woodward.
It's got to be worth it.
Britt
It's got to be
Eklund.
worth to watch. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the rear shot isn't her. That's a different actress.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Dirty people.
Have you seen that? There's trying to find it on YouTube. There's the Saw films. There's someone like where there's someone is Jigsaw's roommate. He keeps like making him do all these stupid games.
Hasn't Jigsaw been in Robot Chicken? I should imagine he has. This documentary I was watching yesterday with Tom Savini. I think it was what's his name, Corey Taylor from Slipknot. He was saying that he thinks that Jason should have stayed with the bag on his head with the one eye because he thinks that's creepier. I prefer the hockey mask, to be honest.
But it's too similar to Michael Myers, isn't it? The hockey mask approach.
I found it. Living with Jigsaw. It's only 2 minutes.
Living with Jigsaw.
Hang on.
I tell what makes me laugh about Saw. Like, it's years between you watch the first Saw films and then you watch the bit at the end with the dramatic music and they're like, oh, look what this is all about. And you're like, what the fuck is this all about? I don't remember. Were you like that as well? With the Saw? You know when they do the big reveal at the end? And it always relates to the previous films. You're like, what the fuck is this all about? I got no idea.
It's like, it's so long since you've seen the previous film.
Yeah.
Maybe you could put this on. It's only 2 minutes. Probably won't get copyright claimed because it'll be.
Yeah, stick it in general. I'm not sure.
In general chat.
Yeah.
On Discord.
And it doesn't
Discord
matter too much. It doesn't matter too much if they take down tonight's episode anyway, because it's we're just riffing.
It's an ad hoc episode.
Yeah, I haven't done hours of preparation for tonight, so not like the Titanic one, which I can't find, which I was quite proud of. Yeah, the Titanic.
Yeah, I really need to the Fortean
Yeah,
Words
which I was.
backup channel.
Yeah, I was
We need to
proud of
sort
that
that
one.
out. Yeah, that was really good. Because
Yeah, I know.
the bit at the end, the bit at the end was great, where you actually proved that it was the Olympic.
Yeah, and then no, at the bit at the very end, you put on Celine Dion, and I think that's why it was removed.
No, I took it down because I think someone was striking my channel at the time, so I just
Yeah,
removed a load of stuff.
There's also the Not the Bees techno remix of Koran, which is worth checking out.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I've put that Living with Jigsaw, so maybe you can play it on the channel.
Right, so I've put it in the Go Live. If you click on my icon in here, you can hear the sound.
Right.
I should make sure it's going to play. Blimey, sneezing a bit. Living with Jigsaw. Right, so. So I'm going to play Living with Jigsaw.
So, what's it like living with Jigsaw?
Not as cool as I thought it would be.
I want to play a game.
Okay, well, I want to take a shower, so...
The toilet has been clogged with 2-ply paper towels and dirty socks. If you do not fix it in the next 27 seconds, it will overflow, covering your personal electronic devices in filthy toilet water. To reach them, you must walk barefoot across a floor covered in razor blades. The clock is ticking, Gary. Make your choice. The wine in both your glasses has been replaced with the blood of a 3-toed sloth.
What do you want? Awake. What?
You are completely surrounded by armed mousetraps. The keys to your car have been force-fed to Bingo. You must retrieve them in the next 5 minutes using any weapon of your choosing from this open drawer, or you will not make it to the office on time. The choice is yours, Gary. Will you take the life of your best friend, or be late to work for the 4th time this week?
No, I thought that was good.
That is pretty funny.
Very amusing.
Bees!
I think I've only seen the first Sword one. I don't think I've seen the rest. They're probably a bit samey, are they?
They just get more and more.
Well, what happens,
ridiculous
like we said earlier, Ian, is what happens is like it's probably 2 or 3 years in between watching Saws. So what happens in the last like 30 seconds of Saw, the dramatic music comes up, and they're doing these reveals for films you haven't. So like they'll do a reveal that could even go back to like Saw 1, and you're like, which you haven't seen for 4 or 5 years, and then you're like, what the fuck is this all about? Basically, you have to watch them all at once or not at all, don't you?
It's like that law of diminishing returns as well with sequels.
Yeah, it's. I've never been a big fan of torture porn anyway. Like
The first one was-
Hostel, I'm not really a huge fan of.
Just good to see what they can do with CGI these days.
Yeah, CGI
Saw
blood is
was
the
good,
worst
but-
thing that ever happened to horror films.
But one good thing, though, is one of the Star Wars films in recent times, they had CGI Peter Cushing, didn't they? And it was brilliant. Do you see that?
Rogue One.
Was it? I don't know which one it was.
Yeah,
but
it's
it was
Rogue
really
One, yeah.
good. Yeah, they got an actor. Actually,
Well,
they got a guy from one of the hospital soaps to play him, and then they CGI'd his face. Yeah.
You seen the
You remember Tron? Tron got pasted for that, didn't it? Because it was young Jeff Goldblum, and he looked really weird.
Oh, it's weird when, and like the Star Wars films where they've Carrie Fisher back as a young version of her, and Peter Cushing as well.
Yeah.
Which looks so weird. It's like a really uncanny valley kind of weird kind of thing.
I'll tell you what was really good. The Tony Stark in the Avengers was really good, and the one in Ant-Man, that was really good CGI. That was.
Have you, speaking
Michael
of
Douglas,
CGI,
yeah.
have you seen the It sequel / prequel? It's The Thing.
It.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you said it. You said it. You mean the Thing?
Oh, the
don't you?
Thing. Oh, yeah, the Thing.
Yes.
Sequel, yeah.
I did
they
not
did a
accept
great-
that exists. I bought the thing I bought the thing on Blu-ray. I bought the two disc. The other disc has never been used.
Basically the CGI is just so bad, but the team worked really hard to create these practical effects. The original, yet the producers said, "Oh, this just looks like an 80s horror movie. Redo it with CGI." And it's like, well, that's the fucking point.
You were always going to be let down by that film. I think it's all right for what it is, but because it's
all right, but
yeah, and I suppose you know it's not going to be as good as the original. So, well, actually, it's not the original, is it? Though
It's not only that. Only fucking Elizabeth Olsen doesn't speak a fucking word of Norwegian.
And it's got
don't they actually establish that she can't even understand Norwegian in it? It's like, what the fuck? Like, there is no mention when they go through the notes of any American being there. They're all fucking Norwegians.
Yeah. It was a good idea though to do the. It's a bit like when they say they keep saying about Jaws, they're going to remake the Indianapolis story. Do that bit with Quint as a younger person on that boat.
Yeah, but it's already been done, isn't it? It's open water, isn't it?
Yeah.
The thing is, the director's got a good idea, and the writers come up with a good script, and then producers come in, make them change everything, and that's where all the fuckery happens, and that just
that's what's ruined modern film, isn't it? It's the fact that they're all made by committee now, aren't they?
Yeah. But there should have been a sequel to it because it was just the two guys left at the end, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They did it with Halloween, with a kind of a similar ending, wasn't it? Sort of an open ending in both of those films. But you
see, Halloween they ballsed up because Halloween it was supposed to be a different film each year, but for some reason they did a sequel to Michael Myers and then wondered why people were pissed off when the third one wasn't anything to do with Michael Myers. When the original idea was to do the third one as the second one, wasn't it? I think.
The third one is quite good as well as a sort of. I don't
think that's a bad film.
It's not too bad.
I just love the thought of the Yanks stealing a bit of Stonehenge because I watched it recently. You know the badges. They've got bits of Stonehenge in them.
Really?
Yeah. It gets more acclaim in later years, that film, but at the time...
Karaoke's Japanese for Ting Tong Sing Song says, weren't camels a horse designed by committee? Probably.
It's basically, you come up with this majestic Arabian stallion, and producers get involved, and you get a fucking manky camel.
Yeah. You guys, what do you guys think of Event Horizon then? Because I think that's half of a good film. I think it's a really good concept. The first half of it's pretty good. And
Hellraiser in space.
I think it just falls apart because Sam Neill rips his eyeballs out and becomes like a killer. Sam
Neill really hams it up.
Yeah,
he really hams it up in that film, and it's basically turns into Hellraiser in space.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with it, isn't it?
I'm surprised they haven't done Hellraiser.
A good film.
I'm surprised they haven't done Hellraiser in space because they've had Freddy.
They've done Hellraiser in space. It's the one where the spaceship turns into the March.
So they have done it because a straight to video film was it? Because that's what most of the Hellraiser.
Yeah,
ones are.
Most of them, I think they just. I don't know what they're keeping the rights for. Why don't they just let the fucking rights go? It's like they're making these shitty sequels that nobody's watching, so So it's probably like at best they're like breaking even on these shitty sequels. It's
The
like why
first
not
one
why
they
not just let the rights go? You obviously don't want the rights and you don't want to do anything proper with the rights. Just fucking let them go.
They had
Rather
to
than
make
this
one though.
shit.
They had to make
Prob-
one, and Doug Bradley wouldn't. One of them, Doug Bradley was the first one where he wasn't Pinhead, and it's like kind of a fat bloke playing Pinhead, and
It's the latest one, isn't it?
No, this was they've made some since, haven't they? Without Doug
Oh, have they?
Bradley, but this was the
Right,
first
okay.
one, yeah, and it was really shit. And the guy that plays Pinhead is like, he just
Well,
doesn't look
most of them, they're buying scripts and just squeezing the Cenobites in, aren't they?
That's the problem with
Yeah.
Hellraiser, is that the first one, the Cenobites were only a small part of the film, but the fans really reacted well to the Cenobites.
Mm.
So then they just focused on how many
What you mean,
different
Hellraiser
weird,
3?
how many different weird Cenobites can we come up with?
Yeah.
They focused so much on the Cenobites that the actual plot kind of suffered for it.
And
Yeah.
Pinhead wasn't called Pinhead, was he? He was called Lead Cenobite originally.
Yeah.
They weren't. Yeah, they didn't.
Yeah.
didn't have a name.
Like I say, the later direct to DVD sequels, they all they did was they repurposed scripts. They just squeezed Pinhead into them.
There's one I remember, which is like one of the Cenobites throws CDs that kills people by throwing CDs at
That's
them.
3, isn't it? 3's got all
Is
the
it?
really
It's just
cheesy
like just
Cenobites,
remember.
isn't it? The bloke with the camera
Yeah.
stuck in his head and stuff.
Oh yeah, Piston Head, isn't it as well? It's
Yeah.
one of the.
Yeah, I don't know how they got Ashley back for that one, but she did that one, didn't she? Then that was it.
Did she die in a car crash or something like that? Or am I thinking of someone else? I'm getting confused.
God, I don't know. I haven't watched them for years. Like the only two worth watching are the first two because they literally are just like 1, 2, and then that's it, isn't it? It's the last one. But even 2 isn't that good at the end, is it? It's just a bit shit where they go to hell and.
Yeah, I did like 2. I remember seeing that in the cinemas. Just seeing it now, those stop motion effects are very very dodgy. So you didn't realise that at the time.
I don't know. I like I say, I quite like stop motion. I think it's got its own charm. Like Ray Harryhausen's a genius, isn't he?
Yeah, like the old Sinbad films with the skeleton.
Oh, Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, isn't it? Excellent. It's got some great animation in it.
That's where Army of Darkness got. They nicked ideas from that, didn't they?
Oh, did they? What, the Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger?
The skeletons. You can see Sam.
Oh,
Raimi
the skeletons is Jason and the Argonauts, isn't it?
Is it? All right.
Yeah, that's Jason and the Argonauts.
I'm getting.
So dragons' teeth in the sand.
Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger is the one with Jane Seymour in it, and her brother gets turned into a baboon. Remember that one?
Isn't Tom Baker in one as well?
I think he's in that
Seymour.
one.
She was Solitaire, wasn't she? In,
yes,
James
yeah.
Bond. Yeah.
And Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman.
And he pulled her by conning her by giving. Wasn't it? He had the tarot cards which said they were going to be lovers, so she had no choice but to go with it. And then he put the pack down, and they were all the same. But he got off with it.
I'd pull that trick on her.
And then he gave her a slap while interrogating her. The body bond doesn't do that anymore, does he?
He wouldn't give a bird a slap, would he?
Interrogate her, give her a slap, and then get off with her. That was the but not now.
Oh, so what did you think? What do you think about fast zombies? Like in the Dead? No, not Dawn of the Dead remake. They're not
zombies. They're not zombies in 28 days later, though, are they?
Days later, no, they're just infected. So they haven't died and come back to life. They've just got a virus. But I think I really like that film.
Was it fast? Aren't they quite fast in Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead?
Yeah, I think they are. I did like the in the Zack Snyder film where he was communicating with the guy across
with the whiteboard
the street with the whiteboard, and they were like they held up Burt Reynolds, and you had to find the Burt Reynolds lookalike.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, they were picking people who they look like, but you had to find a lookalike and pop him in the head, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a good remake, I thought. And yeah, Zack Snyder's latest I don't know. I've not seen his latest zombie film set in Vegas, but
It's supposed to be really bad, isn't it?
I've heard it's shit and it's just full of plot holes. And
I think Zack Snyder is a great director, but I think he should be extremely carefully looked at whilst doing scripts and stuff like that, because he is quite capable of making some real dog shit if he's unmolested.
I think his early stuff was really good, but he got too famous and got too much control.
Yeah,
It's really been detrimental to his output, I think.
Yeah. I mean, Sucker Punch was when somebody should have given him a reality check, isn't it?
Oh God, is that with the women?
Yes, the women in the mental hospital.
It's just his wank fantasy, basically.
Yeah, wank fans. It's just like, and then Batman versus Superman. I mean, surely somebody should have realised after that the man needs heavy supervision. He needs a really good producer or editor, doesn't he? Because apparently that's what happened to Tarantino, wasn't it? He had a really good editor, but she died, and then that's how you end up with Django Unchained.
And surely Superman would have won easily. And I've not seen that film, but didn't Superman win quite easily that fight?
But Batman always had kryptonite on him or something.
It's based on The Dark Knight Returns, where Batman basically in The Dark Knight Returns in the trade of it. Basically, what happens is Batman meets Superman in a specific place, but he's already completely booby trapped the area, so it's like heavily weighted in Batman's favor. And he also has the Green Arrow helping him out as well.
Superman doesn't have to go near him; just get something really big and heavy and throw it at Batman.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's ways.
In the first film.
Throw a meteor at him from space.
Yeah, in the first film, Superman turned the world round the opposite way, didn't he?
Why doesn't Superman just throw all the villains into the sun? Like he could do that.
Or turn the world round the opposite way, like he did in the first film, and kill all the villains.
Have you seen Brightburn, the James Gunn film? That's bad
Any
Superman. Good? That's like, what if a couple found Superman and he got his powers and decided to kill everybody?
Yeah.
Like what's it called? The Boys.
Yeah.
The main guy is basically Superman, but a complete arsehole.
Anyway, team. On that note, I'm going to be signing off. I'm going to.
I think we've hung this one out long enough, haven't we?
Yeah, plenty more to say, but gotta go. So I'll see you all next time, team.
Yeah.
Good night.